yogis, welcome back to Step by Step Breakdown with Sade. And for today's class, we are going to break down child's pose. Such a resting pose and such a really good opening pose for our shoulders and our hips, as well as our sacrum as well. So we're going to begin on our mat in, of course, our child's pose. But before we really get into it, let's break it down. So there are many different ways that you can get into your child's pose. You can either open your knees out mat width distance, which I kind of prefer, so that I can open up my hips, or you can keep your knees connected. Tops of your feet pressed down onto your mat, or if it feels more comfortable as you begin to stretch out your toes, you can go ahead and peel and curl your toes under. So I'm going to start with my knees opened out mat width distance, toes touching, big toes touching, and then I'm just going to sit my hips back down on my heels. Depending on your hip mobility and flexibility, your hips may touch your heels, your hips may not. Either way, it is okay. We're just here to relax and feel comfortable. Now, as my knees are opened out, hips back towards heels, I'll begin to stretch my arms forward, and then I'll release my third eye down on my mat, also known as your forehead, down on your mat. Options are also place your hands back behind you, depending on the type of rest that you need. I find that with my hands placed back behind me, I'm literally just here breathing and opening up my hips. With my arms placed out in front of me, I'm working my shoulders, I'm working my upper back. And it's also adding some tension because I can press the mat away from me, and that will help me to get my hips further down towards my heels to further stretch out my back and open up my hips. Now, with child's pose, you should feel that oppositional pull. The pushing forward and the sitting back is what's really going to help to stretch out your back and to work out your shoulders. Feel free to move from side to side to get into the side stretch of your body. Work out any kinks. And also go ahead and feel free to deepen the stretch by just placing your hands behind you. I find that this really opens up my shoulders even further. Clasping your hands together, and placing them over your head. And in this pose, you really just want to let go and just breathe. Focus on your breath. I usually like to do this pose not in the beginning of my practice, but more so towards the middle when poses begin to get more challenging and I just want to regather my breath and regather my thoughts so that I can be present in my practice. But this is also a really, really good pose if you're having any stress or even also if you have any menstrual cramps, just to open up the hips, press our forehead down, and just really breathe into the lower half of our back and into our abdomen. As you exhale and release all of your air out, and then ever so slowly go ahead and peel yourself up, coming onto your heels, or if that feels too uncomfortable, you can go ahead and sit on your right or left hip. So that is our breakdown for child's pose. Key things to remember, depending on what you really want to stretch and work out in your body, you can have your toes curled. That helps to get a really nice stretch in the arches of your feet as well as your toes. Or you can have them pressed down. That's going to help to stretch out your ankles. Hips back towards your heels. That does not mean hips have to be on your heels. It just depends on your mobility and flexibility. All is welcome and okay. Arms can extend all the way forward. You can have them pressed back, or you can go ahead and clasp them and just put them into a prayer position on the back of your head. So many, many options in our child's pose. I think for me, the most important thing is to circulate the air through my body and find a place to just relax and have comfort, to breathe, and to recenter. So there we have it. If you have any comments or questions, suggestions, let me know in the comment section below, and we will be here for our next step by step breakdown. Thanks.